Actually, I want to ask you now, what shall we, what are the questions that came up for you? You want to hear today?
How is system connected with the belief in
How this system connects a person? How does it actually, how does it work? That's kind of the question.
How does it connect?
How does it connect? Okay. Maybe the first thing now, because it really needs our greatest awakeness, because it's most contrary to our physics. Physics has one idea, that if you want to transmit information, you need something to carry it. This is the idea of physics. Yeah, like for example, the information that I give you is carried by sound. If I'm calling somebody on a cell phone, the information is carried by electromagnetic radiation. If I see these colors, the information of the color comes to my eyes modulated on photons, on light waves. So any information, that's the idea of physics, any information needs a carrier. Yes? And this is there's a big missing point there. That information can also be transmitted without a carrier. Anyone has heard about this? So first of all, we have to understand that it is possible. And like there's many, of course, traditions that have transmitted information, let's say, with thought and with some kind of rituals, and then it is received somewhere else. And then, because now in this age of energy, we are told that this information can only reach there because there's some energy involved, we have to postulate some energy. So they all talk about some kind of, they just invent a word, like tachyon energy, scalar energy, zero energy, or whatever. They postulate an energy that we cannot measure, but they say there is an energy. Because, why? Because Einstein said information can only be transmitted by energy. So he made just a postulation, and we just take it as a belief system. Yes? So just like 500 years ago, if something would happen, it was always, the answer was always, yeah, because of God, or the Son, or the Holy Spirit, or whatever other religion you have. Yes? Now, if something happens, we cannot explain it's because of the energy, because of the frequency, or because of the quant, or because of the scala, or what else. There's a word for it. So if it's not measurable, it still must exist. Why has it to exist? Because Einstein told us information can only be transmitted with energy. So, but let's now see the point that maybe there's something wrong. Maybe he's right, but maybe he's wrong and he missed something. Yes, for example, if you give the Bible or the Quran to a physicist and you ask him, what kind of energy is in this book? And you give him the same amount of book empty, like a notebook. Bible, Quran, and then you give him the same book empty. You say, is there any difference in the energy of those two? One is a notebook, the other is the Bible or the Quran. What would a physicist say? Is there any difference in the energy? No.
Physics cannot prove.
No, they would say there is no energy difference, because why? Because if you put both in an oven, they create the same amount of energy. So they are missing something they are missing information, right? So the information, you could say, okay, now there is something they are missing, and it's informational energy. Yeah? But why do I say information is not another energy? Simply because It's totally different than energy. It does not follow the first law of energy, which is the law of conservation. Yes, and this is very important that we understand energy is not information is not just another energy. Information is not just another form of energy. It's totally different. Why? I can give you, and actually the Bible and all the holy texts, they are actually more talking about information than about energy. For example, when Jesus talks to the 10,000, when Jesus is feeding 10,000 people with 2 loaves of bread, what does this mean? It's a miracle. Now, how can you feed 10,000 people with 2 loaves of bread?
He's feeding information.
He's feeding, yeah, now it's easy. But for last 2,000 years, people were saying, well, this is just a parable, it's just like or it's some others say that it's really a miracle. He could do miracles like this. So for 2,000 years, people did not know how to understand this. Now for you, it's easy. See, it's easy. Of course, he was feeding them with information, because this is why they came. They didn't come for those 2 loaves of bread, of course. But you see, it's simple now. But you come only to this understanding once you know the importance of information in our life. Now, can we say information is just another form of energy? No, because energy is defined as the quantity that is always preserved.